all to Pancho's Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I would like to say a very warm akaba to you. Today I'm sharing with you a very simple beef stir fry recipe, and this is loaded, like very loaded with vegetables. You could even have this on its own as a meal and it will be very well enjoyed. It's enjoyed by everybody that I've served to, and I am hoping that you will enjoy it just as much. And everybody that you serve it to will love it also. Kindly share this video if you think it is that good so everybody else can try it as well. Thank you. Okay, let's do some cooking. I'll be using top sirloin steak, which is a tender cut of beef, some garlic, ginger, some sugar snap peas. I have my red and yellow bell pepper, 1 red onion, a head of broccoli, carrots, scallions, serrano chilies. I also have here some oyster sauce, white pepper, black pepper, cornstarch, and soy sauce. And these are all the ingredients you will need. So I'll start off by cutting my meat. And you want to cut this across the grain so you have a more tender and juicy cut of meat. So I'm going to cut this all up, and then after that we'll proceed. Now I'm going to transfer the meat into a bowl, and now I'm going to be adding my seasoning to it. So that is black pepper, salt, white pepper, oyster sauce, my soy sauce, and cornstarch. So here are all the ingredients you need to marinate your meat, and the cornstarch is what is going to help you have a little bit of juice around your meat, you know, to form a sauce. So I'm going to mix everything together, and I'll set this aside to marinate, and then I'll proceed to cut my vegetables for the stir fry, which should give you about 10 to 15 minutes of marinating time. Top 20 minutes depending on how fast you cut your vegetables. So I'm starting off with some ginger, and I love ginger, so I'm going to use quite a bit of ginger, and I'm not going to make it fine. If you don't want to bite into the ginger, you could chop it finer or use a grater to grate, which would be better for you then, but this works perfect for me. And now I'm going to cut up my garlic as well, which is also a lot. If you know, you've watched how I cook, you know I normally like to put a lot of garlic in my food. So the carrots, I'm just going to cut a little bit in the diagonal, just like that. You could cut up it any way you prefer. I'll chop up my onion now, and this I'm just going to cut this way and then slice in this direction, which will give you beautiful cuts of onion, you know, another burst of color in your stir fry. I really enjoy having a colorful stir fry. So you could use mostly any vegetable of choice, any colors of vegetables, whatever is appealing to you. Just a good way to enjoy your meals. And the kids, sometimes they just love that color and makes them eat too. So now the broccoli, this is just 1 head of broccoli we're going to put in, which is plenty. And so I'm just trying to get it off. I'm just getting the florets. So that's all you basically need. And if you feel some of the florets are too big, you could just cut them up like this. Cut my bell peppers now. And so I cut through this way, and I'll go ahead and remove the seeds before slicing. And like I said before, you could cut in any shape, size you prefer. So I'm cutting this way, and the yellow ones, I'll cut it up a little bit in the diagonal, and it's entirely up to you. I could have cut it all up this way too, and this is beautiful. So my scallions, of course, you chop off the root and throw it away. And I'm just gonna cut. You could cut it a little bit bigger whichever way you want. Just have all the good vegetables in your stir fry. I'll now cut up my serrano chilies, and mind you, this is very spicy, and it is okay to just omit it completely if you don't like spice, because the ginger and the powdered peppers will give you some heat anyway, but I like it to be very hot. For my sugar snap peas, I trim off both ends, and whilst I do that, I try to pull the string on either sides of the pot. That's pretty much all the cleaning you need to do, and it's already washed. So I'm going to blanch my broccoli. So I have hot water. My water was already boiling. I just put these broccoli in and let it sit in the hot water for about 2 minutes. And I'm quickly transferring it into a bowl of water and ice. So that is a cold water bath. And I'll let this sit in for about 2 more minutes. And then I'm going to just scoop it from the cold water, strain it, and transfer into another bowl. And so this is pretty cooked already. It's just going to go in the stir fry and it will be pretty much cooked. So all our ingredients are done being prepped, and it's now time to put everything together. So I have my pan on fire and it's pretty hot. So I just put in my oil and let it even get hotter. And now I'm going to put my meat in to cook. You want to do your meat cooking and all the whole stir fry process under very high heat. I'm going to spread out the beef in the pan so it gets a chance to cook evenly and faster. And then I'm just going to let this sit for about 3 minutes before I flip it. And so you can see it's cooking from bottom up at that point. And now I'm just going to try to stir it and try to get the parts that are not yet cooked to get cooked perfectly. So I'm just going to let it sit again to cook for another 3 minutes. And now look, our meat is almost all done. It's just a few parts that are still a little bit rare. So I'm just going to stir it now. And that should do it. Every part of it should get cooked. And I'm just going to let it go for another 2 minutes and it should be done. So our meat has cooked for a total of 8 minutes and I think it's perfectly cooked now. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer it into a bowl so we can proceed with the stir fry. Just look at how juicy this looks. That is a great indication that our stir fry is going to be perfect. So now that I'm done taking out my meat, I'm just going to put a little bit more of oil into my pan, and I will start off by cooking my ginger and garlic. So you're just trying to stir this and let it cook to have some flavors working out, start working out some flavors before you add in your onions. So I'm just going to cook this for about 1.5 minutes to work out some good flavor and aroma. And then I'll add in the rest of my ingredients. It is smelling so good here right now. And I think it is a good time for me to add my carrots and peppers. And just look, it is just beginning to look beautiful already. The colors are beginning to come together so beautifully, and you can just imagine how the final product will be. So I like my carrot to be a little bit on the chewy side. I don't want it to be too soft, but if you prefer it to be a little bit softer, you could blanch it, you know, in the broccoli, together with the broccoli, I mean. So now I'm adding my peppers and my snap peas. And I'm just going to give it a quick toss. You really don't want to overcook these vegetables. This is all very fast. This whole stir fry process should take no more than 12 minutes, you know, combining all these ingredients from beginning to the end once you're done cooking your meat. So I added 1 tablespoon more of soy sauce, because I tasted my meat and it wasn't that salty, so I felt like I could afford to add more soy sauce to this. And so I added this at this point, and I'm just going to stir in my meat now. And just look at that. Look at how beautiful this is. And it smells amazing. All that ginger, the smell of the ginger, the onions, the garlic, all together and just working so beautifully in great harmony. It smells so good. It smells so good. You just want to eat this. So now I'm just going to add my broccoli, which of course you see it had just a little bit more of water, which is perfect because we have the cornstarch on the meat, and so we can afford to have a little bit of moisture, which is going to turn into something like a sauce for us to be able to eat our rice with, or whatever you want to have this with. And so now I added about a tablespoon of water just to bring in a little bit more juice around our meat, because I wanted this stir fry to be on the juicy side. And this is perfect, very perfect now. And at this point, I'm just going to add my scallions. And our stir fry is done. Once the scallions are in, I'm just going to give this a quick stir and let it cook for about an extra 30 seconds to a minute. And we are done. You don't want to overcook any of these ingredients at this point. It is perfectly cooked and just ready to be enjoyed. And I am going to have this with some white rice, and it's going to be good. But just look at how beautifully it's bubbling and all the richness of color. You could just have this, like I said, as a whole meal because it's fully loaded with vegetables and you don't need any carbs. If you are going to be on a low carb or you are on a low carb diet, this is a perfect meal for you. Just look at that. Just look at the sauce. So perfect. I hope you try this. And this is how I served it, with some white rice, and it was good. Steaming hot and spicy hot as well. Just good. And this, no doubt, will pair so beautifully with all forms of rice, be it white rice, brown rice, curried rice, fried rice. It will just work so beautifully with whatever you choose to have it with. You could also have it as a meal on its own, with your potatoes, with your couscous. Any way you choose to have it, you will really enjoy this. And this I call homemade takeout. Yes, takeout food made in the comfort of your home at a price you simply cannot beat. I really hope you give this a try. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.